Next, from gents to gourmet meals, take an insider's trip and see how gambling is no longer pure and simple. High Rollers on Discovery Sunday. Then learning the truth about the wolf. Man now works to save them on Wild Discovery. Coming up, explore your world.
Las Vegas is a high roller's paradise. The ultimate destination for players who thrive on high-stakes gambling.
There are people that come to Las Vegas from all over the world that can lose in the millions of dollars.
For people with money to burn, Vegas is the bonfire of choice.
These are gamblers, if you can imagine this, that will bet $250,000 on a hand of baccarat.
These individuals, these whales, are really like multinational conglomerates in and of themselves.
They come from around the globe to this desert oasis. High rollers who have little in common with one another, besides a willingness to wager huge sums on games of chance and an intense attraction to the one city that was built for them, Las Vegas. High rollers are a diverse lot. They are the professionals that rely on gambling for their income and the extreme rich who gamble simply for the thrill. A few live in Vegas, but more often they just visit for a high-stakes weekend.
Long Desert Inn, Dory Steak.
There's the successful clothing retailer who loves the high roller perks. And the poor Greek immigrant who amassed more than $30 million in one legendary run. There's the sports gambler, once an illegal bookie in New Jersey, now a member of the Vegas gambling elite. From different worlds, they come to Las Vegas for the same reason explorers climb Everest. It is the ultimate for gamblers, especially the high rollers, who are known in Vegas as premium players.
Premium play comprises high rollers that gamble $20,000 in a visit. There's also $100,000 to $500,000 in a visit.
According to industry experts, there are several thousand people who qualify as premium players, but even they are not the most elite of gamblers.
And at the very top of that pyramid of premium players are the whales. They gamble anywhere from $1 million to $5 million in a typical visit to a casino. There are probably only about 250 whales in the world.
But a whale would be the biggest of its species. So if the gambler is in terms of, if you want to take it to the plains of the Serengeti, it would be the king of beasts, I guess, or it would be the big bull elephant with the longest tusk. It would be the biggest of its kind. So if we're talking gaming, we're talking the biggest gambler. That's the whale.
Whales are part of an international elite.
We like to think that only the State Department has a strong foreign policy than we do.
If you looked at where those real high rollers of the whales come from, and that changes with economic cycles. In the 80s, it was the Arab money that was big. There was a lot in South America for a while, and recently it has been from the Far East.
The reason that most of the premium play, or a large percent of the premium play, comes out of Asia is that's where a lot of wealth is concentrated.
So much wealth, in fact, that even the recent economic crisis along the Pacific Rim has not lessened the casino's efforts to lure the Asian high roller.
Very smooth band.
We have a department here that caters mainly to the Asian customers, Far East customers. They speak several different languages, from Cantonese to Mandarin to Hokkien to Malaysian, Thai, because we do have to, you know, there are some customers that come here that don't speak any English at all. So it's important for them to know that they're going to a place where someone they can at least be able to communicate.
Gamblers in general are notoriously superstitious, a fact the industry is obliged to accommodate.
There are more superstitions in a casino than probably anywhere else you'll find anybody per square foot. It's silly, but people live and die by it.
Casinos tolerate high-maintenance high rollers because the payoff is enormous. Less than 5% of Vegas visitors are considered premium players, yet they provide up to 40% of the revenue at casinos who cater to them. Premium players left nearly $1 billion at Vegas tables last year.
There's probably about 7 casinos here in Las Vegas that are now really actively pursuing the high roller market, and we all do similar things to attract that customer.
In the last decade, high-stakes gambling has become an intensely competitive business, with casinos around the globe vying for the same customers, and yet none compare to Vegas. What is it that makes this city a mecca for the most serious gamblers? One reason is discretion.
Lots of wives don't know what the master of the house is doing. And certainly they're not going to hear it from me.
And they're probably a fairly high-profile individual, or at least they're probably well-known because they are very wealthy. So discretion is very, very important. It's an expectation. It's a requirement.
The second requirement for high roller casinos is money. While the casino will always win over the long haul, they must have the cash on hand to withstand short-term losses. Whales on a lucky weekend can win millions.
So there are plenty of people that come to Las Vegas that are the high rollers that have great financial staying power, and the risk is that they can beat you. There have been a lot of instances in this town where a lot of people won a lot of money.
The third ingredient of the Vegas mystique can be called the cult of money. Vegas fawns on the rich, providing a playground with toys that only the wealthiest can afford.
The watch is made by Piaget. There are only 8 of them in the world. One is owned by Queen Elizabeth, and for $775,000, you too can own one.
Oh my God, just big.
You ever go in a bank in your neighborhood and you show them a $100 bill, or a store, you show them a $100 bill, and oh my gosh, they have to look at it 6 times. Here, $100 bill is, you know, like a quarter. It really does, you know, it's just nothing. So people seek this out. There's an excitement, there's a lifestyle, there's a tradition, but when you want to go to the one and only, the original, the mecca for gambling in the world, everybody concedes that it is Las Vegas.
The Rio has been traditionally known as a favored spot for Las Vegas locals, but they recently joined the hunt for high roller gold with over $200 million in upgrades. The Rio, like several other casinos in Vegas, is gambling on its ability to attract the high-end customer.
Well, high rollers, as they're known in the business, have always had high expectations of how they're treated, and they're treated well because they're a very profitable part of the business. So as that business has become more competitive, it's been sort of a buyer's market. So the customers have asked for more, demanded more, and received more.
Competition for high rollers drove the Rio to create a $6 million wine collection, widely regarded as one of the world's finest. It's available to the public, but be very careful which bottle you decide to open.
So the most expensive is a lovely 1924 Chateau Mouton Rothschild from Bordeaux in France. If you want to buy it, anyone wants to buy it, it's $200,000. We always take $199,000 for cash.
Of course, not all high roller tastes are so extravagant, at least not by some standards.
Everyone says, what do these people drink? Well, I'll tell you what they drink. The most asked for wine at the moment is Chateau Petrus 1982, and you can't get that wine under $4,000 a bottle. So that's asked for a lot.
Wine collections and high-end restaurants are just part of a casino's arsenal in an arms race for the premium player. This is keeping up with the Joneses on a huge scale. The ultimate suite at the Desert Inn, for example, is over 9,000 square feet of pure luxury. Even the bathroom fixtures are gold. From the elegant marble entryway to the private pool, Everything is designed for the comfort of those that can afford to play or to pay.
On a bad day, you'd have to have at least $500,000 credit line. On a normal day, it would be $1 million credit line and above to get into that type of accommodation. But we will rent those suites out, which range in size from the biggest ones, from about 8,300 to 9,300 square feet. We will rent them out. We have rented them out. They go for $15,000 a night. But we do provide a butler.
After the break, meeting the high expectations of high rollers. Find out how and why the comp system works as Discovery Sunday continues.
Herb and Phyllis Wolf are high rollers.
All right, we need, Herb, how are you, my friend? Oh, nice to see you.
Nice seeing you.
How are you? Phyllis.
Herb is a successful retailer, loves to play craps, and is willing to gamble thousands of dollars on every visit. At least twice a month, the Wolves spend a long weekend at a casino. They stay in the nicest suites, sit front row at shows, have limos at their disposal. But never, ever do they pay a hotel charge.
Welcome to the Rio. Pleasure to have you here.
In fact, they are lavished with gifts from the casino. Complimentaries, or comps as they are known, are based on how much, how often, and for how long a person plays.
And I play till 5, 6 in the morning. I play roughly between 12 to 15 hours a day.
The way the comp system works is that for every hour a customer plays, he generates a certain amount of complimentaries in dollar amounts that we can attribute to his bill. It would be almost as if he was paying for it, but he's paying for it by virtue of his play.
The casinos in Las Vegas last year gave away about 11% of the win. They won about $7 billion, and of that, they gave away 11%, or a little over $700 million worth of free stuff to customers. You know, it's almost $2 million a day. That's a lot of money.
As the wife of a high-stakes gambler, Phyllis Wolf is not only an expert, but an author on the high roller lifestyle.
Contrary to what most people believe, you do not have to lose in order to get the comps. It is only the action that they go by. You can win $100,000, you get the same thing.
Obviously, based on the way he plays, he actually he deserves anything he asks for, even though his demands are not very great. But it's a joy to deal with people like that.
And if there is something I want, all I have to do is say, gee, I like that, and the next day it's in my suite.
Executive hosts like Lou Pascal, Anna Baza, and Dan Chandler are the casino liaison to high rollers. They are responsible for the player's travel arrangements, they calculate the level of comps the player will receive, and they determine what credit limits the casino will extend to a player. Most importantly, they develop a rapport with the player that often goes considerably beyond a business relationship.
To me, the host is the most important thing because he makes it comfortable, he takes care of you.
There's very few things that they ask for that's out of the question.
Well, I think we said we almost took the role of a babysitter. When they lose, when they're depressed, we cry with them. When they win, when they celebrate, we drink champagne, we laugh with them.
Herb, I know when you come waltzing in at about 3 in the morning, Phyllis does not
3 in the morning. I wish I would be asleep.
Phyllis does not want to hear you.
No.
But according to most high rollers, they would still play even without the hosts or the comps. The game is the ultimate draw.
As soon as I play the game, I forget about my business. I forget about anything that is going on, all the problems I got. It's a relaxation. It's an entertainment relaxation of my life.
Herb loves to play. He's a hard worker in his own business, and so when he has the opportunity to relax, this is Herb's recreation. He doesn't play golf, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. He just loves to play craps.
pre-opened it to have...
Gambling and the high roller lifestyle are forms of escapism where you can be king for a day. To Herb and Phyllis, it is the ultimate reward.
It has certainly given my life a tremendous boost, and it has made me very happy.
I came out of a small town in Germany. My father had the biggest retail store in the city, and which was burned down in the Holocaust. In 1940, we came legitimate to the United States with $18 in a pocket, and look where I am now.
I want to tell you about...
Even as late as the 1970s, Vegas was already a major resort destination, but nothing by today's scale. High roller expectations have risen considerably.
If you go back 20 years, 30 years, a lot of our customers were willing to forgive Las Vegas some of its sort of tackier side because it was so unique in the world. But, you know, it's not as unique. You can go gambling anywhere around the world these days. 26 states in the United States have casinos. There are casinos all over the world. And as a result, I think people expect a lot more from Las Vegas.
High roller expectations are being met with world-class shops and restaurants, spectacular shows, and luxurious spas. Today's Vegas is about more than just gambling. It's a complete assault on the senses.
Captain of the Britannia, prepare broadside. Ready, aim, fire!
The person most often credited with shaping this new Vegas is Steve Wynn, chairman and CEO of Mirage Resorts, which owns some of Vegas's premier properties. He and a handful of others recognized that big money gamblers and millions of tourists could be lured to Vegas by non-gambling attractions.
I mean, where else are you going to find a city where you can go from Egypt to King Arthur's England to Caesar's Rome to a pirate village, all in an afternoon walk? And that doesn't happen anyplace else. This is the greatest carnival midway in the world.
This has become the adult Disneyland. They've done it bigger and better, and they've had more of a tradition. They know how to treat people here better than any other city in the country and perhaps anywhere in the world.
Even as Wynn was turning Vegas into the country's most popular tourist attraction, he never lost sight of the prized high roller market. His newest midway attraction is the $1.8 billion Bellagio. With luxurious accommodations and a world-class art collection, it is designed for very discriminating tastes.
Someone made mention of the fact that the theater at Bellagio, where the Cirque du Soleil will perform, cost $81 million. There isn't a theater in the world that costs that kind of money. And as we were walking through, we realized, oh, it's $81 million. It's not that bad. You know, it's like the good news is compared to $1.8 billion, all of it sounds like it came at a pretty good price. So it sounds like we got all of it pretty cheap.
In the early days of Vegas, slot machines were a necessary evil, put in the casino to, quote, entertain wives while their husbands played. No more.
Here we go, baby. Come on, man. I can roll. Viva Las Vegas. Now you get a three-quarter right up.
Today, these machines are the backbone of the gambling business and an enormous draw to a new category of high rollers.
High roller slot machines have become more of a phenomenon in the last few years. Prior to that, you may have had a few $25 or $100 slot machines. Today, casinos have set aside areas specifically for the people to play $100, even $500 slot machines.
So if you think how many times you can pull or push the button on a slot machine and every time it's $500 like that, you're talking about some serious money.
But no matter how much you put in, the odds of winning are determined by the computer chip inside the machine.
No, there's no systematic way to beat these machines. They are designed for the house for the long term. In the short term, anything can happen. You can walk up and hit $1 million, or you can sit down and lose $1,000. In the short term, it's just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Like slots, every game in the casino has some built-in advantage for the house. The odds on games like roulette, craps, and baccarat are determined by the number of cards in a deck, or the combinations available from a pair of dice. The casino will, over the long haul, earn from 1.5% to 6% on every dollar wagered at these games.
You can see some really unusual things happen, and it was sort of like the last of the independents. It's a throwback to the 50s and 60s in Las Vegas, and a lot of people like it that way.
Archie Karras was perfectly suited to Binion's freewheeling style. If Binion's Horseshoe is a true gambler's casino, then Archie is a gambler's gambler, the ultimate high roller.
I have bet as much as $2 million on one roll of the dice, and I bet as much as from $400,000 to $1 million almost every day, 5 days a week, for 3 years straight here at the Horseshoe.
Archie arrived in this country penniless, a teenage immigrant who spoke no English and had no connections in his new home. But shortly after arriving, Archie discovered his passion for gambling.
We're playing poker, and, you know, I was losing, and I didn't know what I was doing, and, you know, people taking advantage of me. You know, whatever I had, I lose. Don't matter what kind of hand I had, because I didn't know what to want, but I had so much gamble in me that I wanted to do it anyway. You know, I guess you're born with it.
It was in backroom card games that Archie also developed his all-or-nothing style of play.
Archie Karras is the wildest gambler I have ever seen in my 27 years in the industry.
Within a year of arriving in Vegas, Archie had beaten many of the town's poker players and picked up a few more 100,000 shooting pool on the side. Still, he wanted more.
Poker is a beautiful game, but it's a small game, and I like a big play. I like a lot of money, and the only place you can get to play is the big money is at the casino game.
In order to satisfy his need for more action, Archie started playing craps. That's when the money really started rolling in.
At one point, I got a call from the cage manager asking me if I knew Archie well enough to call him and ask him if he would do us a favor, and I said, sure. I said, well, what do you want me to ask him? And she said, well, we have a guy who wants to play high, but we don't have any $5,000 chips. Archie has all of them in his safety deposit box. That's over $10 million in chips.
Archie's play reflected his philosophy. Time and again, he let it all ride. And to the amazement of everyone, it kept going his way.
And I asked Archie at one point, Archie, you never seem satisfied. No matter how much you win, it's never enough. Well, what is it you're trying to do? And he said, Jim, I want to win the Horseshoe.
It's well known that Archie came in and played, and Archie won a lot of money. Archie had me looking back down at my hole card, you might say, because nobody had ever even come close to winning that kind of money before. And it just looked like Archie was just going to win and win and win.
When you watch this happen, and you're at any other location, is not the least bit unsettling, because you know at some point you'd have to back up. The casino would have to back up. The Horseshoe does not have a reputation of backing up.
Many casinos did, in fact, back up or refused to allow Archie further play. But true to its reputation, the Horseshoe let him keep on rolling. Over a period of 3 years, Archie Karras played more, longer, and bigger than anyone in the history of Las Vegas.
And I don't think anybody can break my record in the future. You know, Mr. Potter, if you heard him, he's the gentleman who comes from Australia. He bets real high. But I don't think, myself personally, I don't think he can break my record. And he's the only thing close nowadays to me.
But eventually, the house odds catch up with any player, even or perhaps especially a player like Archie. The aggressive style that initially won millions ultimately led to devastating losses and the demise of his fortune.
When you're losing, it's not easy. You know, not very many people can handle it. There's people come and tell me that nobody in the world could have handled what the millions that I've gone through, winning and then losing. I lost 11 million in one day.
But one thing about Archie, boy, he was a true player. You know, when you talk to him, now here's a guy that had 22 million. In fact, he had more than that at that time. And now he doesn't have anything. And doesn't bother him. I mean, he's a true gambler, boy, I tell you.
You know, I gamble for the money because I know life is a game. The whole life is a game. And, you know, some people have millions and they want more and more and more. And, you know, when you're gone, you don't take nothing with you. You leave everything behind. The only thing I'm going to leave is a history in Las Vegas that how much I bet and what I've done here for the city here. And for the people going to come here and trying to break my record and trying to win millions from now on out for 200 years. They're going to remember my name and they're going to come in and they're going to say, we're going to do what Archie did. We're going to win millions.